Hello, my name is Jay. Today, let's discuss all the bad decisions I made on trail that could have ended my thru hike and potentially my life, really. So yeah, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for continuing to watch these videos. Right now I'm in Germany. I'm in our bedroom actually, or I mean my studio, while Tina works in the living room. But it's kind of nice because the bedroom has more furniture, so it's not as echoey. But yeah, so I've been thinking over all the things I did wrong on a thru hike, and I figured maybe some of you can learn from this, and maybe some of you can just call me a fool for making some of these decisions. And one of the decisions was one I even told people not to do. But starting off, let's go to way in the beginning. It was day 21. I was in Smoky Mountain National Park and I got to Newfound Gap and it was closed. The whole road was closed, so there were no cars there at all. So I knew I had to walk down. And at the time, there was maybe about 40-mile-per-hour winds with 85-mile-per-hour gusts. And there was a warning on the weather app that says to avoid any activity outside in wooded areas because of the high winds. So the National Park Service closed down the road due to branches and trees falling down. So at that point, I said, you know what? It's a little over 10 miles, I believe. I'm going to have to walk down anyway. Actually, it was more like 15 miles, but it was quite far. So I decided, I'm just going to walk. And I started walking. And it was really foggy. It was really windy. And I thought, you know what? It's pretty much an empty road. Nobody's going on here. So I actually walked in the middle of the road so I could just close my eyes and just walk. Like, I tried to walk as quickly as I could. But I closed my eyes and just walked quickly as I could. And I thought, sure, if a car is going to come, I'll be able to hear it, right? But there are no cars coming anyway because everything's closed. So I'd walk, and every once in a while I'd open my eyes, make sure there's nothing in the way, and I was still on the road. Because as you may all know, when you close your eyes, you kind of wander. So this was also a game I did to kind of spend my time. So I would just close my eyes, walk down the middle of the street, and try to stay in the middle as much as I could, just focus on that. And I'd open my eyes and see how I did. The problem with that was it was still really foggy, and miles later, it was actually 10 miles down. This was past some little trees I climbed over because they were just all across the road. And those little trees made me think, yeah, sure, there's no way cars are coming along here. So about 10 miles down the road, I'm just walking on the side of the road this time, and all of a sudden a truck just pulls up next to me. It was a National Park Service employee, and he gave me a ride for 3 miles down to the edge of the gate. But at that point, I realized, holy crap, I didn't hear him coming at all. I thought I'd be able to hear a car coming so I could get out of the way. But he was right next to me before I heard it because it was so windy, I couldn't have heard anything. And we were talking about the conditions up top. And he was saying, oh, it was so foggy. I was worried I'm going to kill an animal or something as I was driving down. And I was like, I was walking down the middle of the road, super foggy conditions, couldn't hear anything. And yeah, that was probably really bad choice doing that, especially with the fog and the wind. Just assuming that nobody's going to be out there, he could have just ran me over. If he was a couple hours earlier, he could have just plowed into me. And I thought I could hear it, but the wind made it so I just couldn't hear. So that was probably my number one worst decision I made throughout the whole thru hike, is just walking down the middle of the road because the road was closed. But any closed road may still be open. Maybe some car was parked somewhere and he's going to risk driving down. Although the gate's closed, he would have to just stop there. So yeah, I thought that was a bad decision. I'm sure some of you probably say it was a bad decision just hiking in the woods in general with that kind of winds, with trees and branches everywhere. And on a thru hike, sometimes you do what you have to do. And I will agree, people have died from that kind of thing. So it's a serious matter, but I just walk along. But that was my number one worst decision on my thru hike. And hopefully none of you get ran over by a car like that. The second worst decision, it's not like life-saving, but when I got back into Smoky Mountains, it was quite icy after Newfound Gap. And there were some other spots too, and I had microspikes throughout the entire beginning of the trail. And I just kept putting off wearing it, kept putting it off. And for a while, I even had it in my water bottle sack, the side pocket, so I could take it off and I could actually put it on without having to take my pack off. But I decided, oh, I don't need to put it on. I don't need to put it on. And I think I fell at least twice in the Smokies alone before I decided I should put it on. Off to Newfound Gap. Here we go. That was quite an adventure. Quite an adventure. Oh. And the problem is, every fall you take, there's that slight risk that you actually injure yourself, that you have to get off trail or something like that. So I probably should have worn those microspikes sooner than when I finally folded to it. I should have just gone with it. And once I put them on, hiking on the ice was so much easier, and I regretted not doing it much earlier. So if it's slippery and you have microspikes, put them on. Along that matter too, it was a little before Tennessee, before Tina first came to pick me up. I was actually trying to find a private spot where I can dig a hole because it was the morning time, and I was venturing off trail, just kind of bushwhacking, and there was a tree down on the ground, maybe just like a foot high, and it was wet. And I decided, well, maybe a couple of feet. I decided, yeah, I'm just gonna put my foot on it and climb over. So I put my hand down, put my foot on it, and my foot just slipped, and I bashed, I think, my left knee right into the tree. And that hurt a lot. And I knew trees, like if they're smooth looking and they're wet, they're going to be slick. And it's okay maybe to put it flat or where you have good traction somehow. But at an angle, that was a really dumb idea. And I might have mentioned in the video, but when I hit my knee, fortunately that was maybe the day before Tina was coming. After I hit my knee, that thing hurt for a week. It was extremely sensitive to touch. I don't know how well you can tell. This patella is smaller than this one. This tendon's been bothering me for a few days already, but I hit this spot earlier and it's all swollen up now. So I'm actually glad I'm in a hospital and taking some time off, because this whole thing is swollen. I could feel down here it's swollen compared to here. I think that that last fall really got me. And painful when I touched it. And even for a couple weeks after, it wasn't as painful once I got back on trail because it was a week of rest I had. It was still really achy, and after maybe the third week it started to get really itchy. So something was definitely injured with that. And if I was hiking and with that injury, it could have gotten worse, but fortunately I did take a week off, unplanned, but kind of planned, I guess. But without that, I could have potentially hurt it more, and it could have potentially ended the through hike, or at least gotten me off the trail for a week to recover. Don't know, but glad I didn't have to find out. So wet trees are slippery. Don't take any chances. Be sure of all your footing. And the very last thing that I did that could have gotten me off the trail, from halfway, I mean, all the way on, there were a few other slips and achy part bits, but somewhere in southern Maine, a trail, well, I slipped on some roots, and I kind of tugged the tendon on the top of my left foot, right where it joins the lower leg. And then it hurt, but it was okay. I was hiking along. But at some point, the trail really leveled out, and everybody was just cruising. Everyone was hiking as fast as they could just to make up time. And I joined them, and I was keeping up with Tina. She was keeping up with some other people. And then I met the Skogmans, and I was keeping up with all of them. But the whole time, I felt that tendon just getting worse and worse and worse. And there was no reason for me to rush because the campsite we were going to be wasn't too many miles away. But I just kept pushing, and it just felt getting worse and worse. And unfortunately, I think it was that day where I hurt it enough that the next day it got much worse. And then, after that, I needed some rest or some lighter load just to recover. But at the time that was hurting, while in the tent that night, I was thinking of ways I could still finish with Tina, although I might have to take a week off. So I would have had to like skip ahead a week, catch up with Tina, go to the top, come back, and then maybe finish it after, hopefully if everything's good. But at that time, all I could think of was like ways, what I could do to finish the hike like continuously without having to take a week off and something like that. And fortunately, when we got to Shaw's, had the option. Well, we planned on zeroing at Shaw's, so that helped alone because that was only a couple of days away after I hurt my leg. And after Shaw's, they offered slack packing, which we took up on, and I also sent 5 pounds of gear home. That helped a ton as well. Unfortunately, I was able to finish up and go on back down and had plenty of time at home to recover after all that. But if I hadn't tried to keep up with them, I didn't do the hike your own hike thing. I try to keep up with everyone else and talk to them. If I just did my own hike, slowed down, stretched, take a break every now and then, taken easier strides, I probably could have gone injury free and I wouldn't have to go through all that. But that was the bad decision I made. So I'd say those were my top things that were actual conscious decisions I made that could have potentially ended the thru hike or caused a major interruption. Or in the case of walking down the middle of the street in foggy weather, probably could have gotten me killed. So don't do that. Don't do that. If Newfound Gap is closed and it's foggy, just, I don't know, just stay to the sides or something. If it's foggy road at all, just stay off the road as much as possible, even if the road's closed, because you don't know who potentially could have a car on that road and just be going crazy, and bad things could happen. So hope you all learned something from my mistakes. And yeah, I regretted the first one the most, I think. I regretted it as soon as I talked to that ranger. And he told me that he was worried he was going to just run over an animal in the fog like that. And it could have been me. It was really bad. But I didn't tell it to him at the time, but oh well. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed some of these little stories about bad decisions I made. I'm sure everybody's made bad decisions one way or another. It happens. And sometimes when you're in the rush of a thru hike and you want to get certain miles in, you were planning to get it to a certain town on a certain day, you just keep going and you kind of fight over some common sense. So hopefully you guys all make good decisions. And if you're going on a thru hike at some other point in future, yeah, continue making good decisions and have fun with your thru hike, okay? All right, thanks a lot. And you all take care and have a good night.